This tutorial is going to be about tracing an image in Illustrator. So the first thing I'm going to do is, when I'm in Illustrator, I'm going to make a new document. So I'm going to go File, New, and you can see here when this menu comes up that you've got under Size, you've got the normal options, A4, A3, other sizes that are in there. I'm going to give it a name, so I'm going to call it Skateboarding. Here quite often it'll come up as points as the default. If I change it to millimeters, I can make my own document size, so I'm going to make it 100 millimeters. If I hit tab, it'll go into the next square, and then I can go 100 again, hit return, and it makes that page. It's the same as just clicking OK. Now I'm going to make sure that this is saved in the right place. Save as, skateboarding. On the desktop, I've got a folder called Illustrator. And I'll just make sure that I save it in there, skateboarding.ai Illustrator file, and I save it. Just go OK. Now in that same folder is an image. So if I go File, Place, find my image, which is the one called skateboarding.jpg, I can see here, this is important, that it's clicked as a link. So it's not going to embed the image into Illustrator. Go Place. If I click and let go, it's going to place that image in. Now I can come up to the black arrow tool, or if I hold down you can see it's V, so I can just click V, and that will be the quick key for that tool. Move the image to where I want it. Now I can see here on layer 1, I'm just going to double click that, and I'm going to call it Skater, hit return, okay, and it makes that change. Now at this stage, while I've got the image highlighted, I can see the opacity here is 100%. Now I'm going to highlight that, put in 50, again, hit enter or return, and it changes the opacity down to 50%. I want to do this because otherwise it's going to be difficult to trace over. Now while the image is there like that, in the layers, this little option that's empty at the moment, if I click on it, it locks that layer. Okay, so I can no longer bump it. Now I'm going to trace by doing another layer over the top. So I come here, down to the new layer option, create new layer. If I double click on the name, I can call it, I'll just call it drawing. Hit return to make that change. Now one of the things I want you to notice is that if you have a look in the layers over here, beside drawing, it has this red color. If I click on the layer, I've got nothing drawn at the moment, but it'll come up with a little red symbol there. What that means is if I hit P for pen tool and I draw, can you see that the handles and the path, when it draws out, are coming up in red? You can see it's got the little shape here. Now if I double click in this little blank area here, I can change that. So I've got a whole lot of options, and I can go for yellow, go OK, and you can see the line work changes to yellow. The reason this is significant is if you've got a blue image and that layer comes up as blue, you don't want to be tracing over blue with blue, so it's just to give some sort of contrast. Anyway, I'll double click because red was probably pretty good. If I click on the color, I can darken up that red if I want. Oops, close that. Okay, you can see it making that change. Actually, I'm going to double click on it and just change it back to light red. It's probably a wee bit better. The other thing to notice is when you draw, you see over here the fill is white and the line is black. So I'm covering up my image. So if I click on the fill, click on this little red line to make it none. And what I should do is if I click V, the black arrow tool, click off, and click back on that line work, you can see here it says 1 point stroke. So I'm actually going to change that right down to the smallest, down to 0.25. Now when I draw, it's going to be set up in that fashion. So if I get the magnifying glass, click and drag around an area, that's the area that it's going to enlarge. Over here, because I've got that layer locked, I can only draw at the moment on the layer that's marked as drawing. So P for pen, Command plus if I want to enlarge up a wee bit, hold down the space bar and I get the hand tool so I can move it around. I'm going to start here and draw, so I'm going to click, drag, click and drag to get that curve of the t-shirt. Now I want a little angle there, so I'm going to go back onto that last dot that I created, click on it, and you can see one of the little Bezier handles disappears. So it means now when I drag out here, click and drag, there's no handle back here because I got rid of it. Same thing here, see the handle? If I want this to be a sharper point, when I click on this point, you can see the handle disappears. And now I can start to draw these ones. I'm just going along with the undulations, clicking and dragging. Hold down the space bar for the hand tool. This one here is going to be a little bit sharper, so I click, drag to get that curve, click back on the point, gets rid of a handle, and now I can bring this out on a slightly different angle. Same thing here. This is going to be a sharper curve. Hold down the space bar so I can move it a bit. Click back on that point. This handle disappears. And I can carry on with the shorts. I want the shorts to have a little bump where they hit the knee. Click on that point again. And then I can come out here, start drawing leg spacebar again to get that hand tool. This time we'll go Command minus. It's going to reduce it down a bit. Don't need a whole lot of points. Curve down here. Spacebar again. Again, you can see this little sock juts out, so I'll click on it. Get a little curve. Click down here. It's going to be a hard edge again, so again, I can click. I'm going to forget about whatever that is, the little lace. To the edge of the skateboard. Down here, getting the curve. Click. I can bring these shoes out on a sharper angle. Click on that point again. And this is the way that I'm going to continue around with this, this image. If I hold the Command key down, it changes to the black arrow tool and I can click outside that shape. So it deselects it. And remember I've got these other little shapes here, so like the bit between the back of the calf muscle and the hand, so I'm getting that curve. Click here again, get the little bit for a sock. Click. Carry on, I've got that curve, click on that point again, and again, this edge, and so I can continue round and do that internal shape. So I've got another one here, and that looks like it might be just those two. I thought there was another one in here, but can't be. Okay, so I'm starting to get that drawing to fill in. So I've got one here that I finished off before. So Command plus again, and again. Oh, there was a little extra gap under here. So I can see this line that I've got around the edge. Command 0 fits it back in the window, the full image. So now V, or getting the selection tool, if I drag around this image, I can fill the whole thing. So here I can see I've got a fill of none. So if I hit the X key, or I just click on that little symbol, I'll hit the X. Actually, all that does is it just swaps between the line and the fill. So while I'm on the fill, I'll click black. I click on the line tool and the little symbol that says none. So all of this is what I want. I want the black silhouette with no line thickness. Now I can see it's filled in these shapes in here. So if while they're all selected, if I hold down the Shift key and I click on this bigger shape, it deselects it, but it leaves these shapes highlighted. X brings the foreground color to the front. I can come up to my color bar, click white. If I can't see them, I just need to go Object, Arrange, bring to the front, make sure they're in the front. Now what's happening here is that these shapes, although you might not be able to tell, they're white on a black shape. But they're not transparent. So if I wanted them to be transparent, I make sure that they're brought to the front, which I did before. Then Shift, pick that last shape, and under the window, if I go to Pathfinder, I can click on the second symbol which says minus front. If I do that, these shapes are now cut out. If I move them over here, you'll see how it shows the edge of the page. And when I click, whatever I click on, it's just moving the whole thing as one. So Command Z, I'm just going to get that back to where it was. I can flick the eye on and off beside that skater layer, and there's my silhouette over top of the image. Okay, I'm going to stop there.